Good morning. Thank you for wanting to watch this video. I'm gonna take you through a full day of eating today. And it'll be training day foods. They're not massively interesting, but just a little bit of an insight on how to achieve a good protein goal and achieve a good amount of food throughout the day. I probably won't take you training with me today because it is another push session and that was in my last video. So it'll just be what I'm eating throughout the day and my meals. I'm just about to make a coffee. I'm pretty sure you all know how to make a cup of coffee, so I'm not going to take you through how I make my coffee, but yeah, I'm gonna make a coffee, have a little sit down, and then I'm gonna train this morning. So I'll show you meal one, which will be pre-workout, and I'll chat you through that and a little bit of an update and things on what's going on in the next few weeks. Like a ramble chat, I suppose, before I start prep, because prep starts in 3 weeks, and then I'm going to start hopefully doing like a weekly sort of like vlog, just like weekly updates, because as I said in I think it's my first video, I just want to be able to like look back on things and be able to see like where things have come from, like my journey of it, and just look back and have a bit of a laugh, because I've only really got like photos and small videos of my last prep, and not really like a log of like how I was feeling throughout. You know, you've got like a mental log of how you felt throughout it, but not something to look back on, and I think it would be nice to look back on things. So my second prep starts on the 22nd of April, and we're in a pretty good spot at the moment. So I have managed to make a little bit of progress since I finished prep. I think the end of October, we started to bring foods back up a little bit. So for those who don't know, last year when I competed, I did my first show in September. It was the 18th of September, and that was the Heart of England UK DFBA, and that is the one I ended up winning. And then I got invited to the finals, which I think was 4 weeks after, but in between that 4 weeks I was actually meant to be doing a WMBF show 3 weeks later, but unfortunately the week prior to that I got really ill, and we think it's probably due to the rice that I was not given, but I cooked it. Meg was carving me up, so it was basically meant to be a peak week, but I was so ill, and the show was on the Sunday. I can't remember the dates, but it was the Wednesday, Thursday I started to get really sick, and I think it was from our carb up that we did, and I didn't heat back up my rice properly, so I ended up giving myself quite severe food poisoning, and I'm laughing now, but it really wasn't nice. I haven't been that sick since like a little kid, so I was really poorly, and for some reason I thought I was going to be absolutely fine for the weekend. So I think it was the Thursday was the worst day, and the worst night. I just literally did not sleep a wink. I was in the bathroom. I ended up on like the bathroom floor. I was just lying on the bathroom floor, so I was like having like hot sweats, but yeah, really wasn't in a great position. And then the Friday I was like, right, that's it, I'm fine, like I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna eat all my foods as normal, and I think I just obviously made myself even worse. Like the Friday session wasn't meant to be like a really heavy session anyway. It was just like a pump up session before you go and do your show. but nothing was processing, like none of the food that I was eating was processing properly. You get the idea. And that session was like horrendous. And I done posing. I think I'll try and like pull up a few videos and photos if I can of that day. And then that night was absolutely horrific. I was so ill. And obviously the Saturday we were meant to be travelling up to where we were meant to be staying. I can't remember the location of where WMBF was last year. It was like Birmingham way, up north somewhere. And we were going to be travelling on Saturday. And I remember messaging Meg at like, I think it must have been like 3 a.m. of that Friday night into Saturday morning. She messaged me like first thing when she could, and she was like, "You're not going anywhere. Like, I don't know why you think that you're okay to go, because I wouldn't have been able to go. I wouldn't have been able to be there. Like, I couldn't have given my best. I was so sick." So Saturday, obviously I called it that we were not going and I wasn't doing it, and it was such a, like, it was so upsetting. It was just heartbreaking for me, because I've like, I know that sounds silly, but I've spent so much like time and investment into these shows, and that second show I had to learn like new posing, like a little routine and everything. So I really worked my socks off to be able to, you know, sort of bring another look for another show, as well as like, you know, paying for the show, the entry, the makeup, the hair, the tan, you know, everything. So it does like sort of kick you in the teeth a little bit when something goes wrong like that, but you really have to listen to your body. And I was so poorly. Saturday I just literally was in bed all day, and I ended up having to call 111 because I was really not in a great place, and like no food, even water, like anything that I drank would just go straight through me, so I wasn't hydrating, let alone like getting any fuel from food. And she, on the phone, she basically like asked for my, so this is where it was a bit weird, because obviously I was in prep, my body weight is very low, so it wasn't like as normal, but she just asked me, so I was basically having like blood in my stools as well, so that was like quite a big concern for her. So she was like, right, I'm going to book you into the hospital and get them to look over you. So we ended up going to hospital on Sunday instead of me competing, so I actually spent like nearly the whole day in hospital, because I was like dehydrated. So they wired me up, took my bloods, and basically my bloods come back to say that I had a viral infection, and it was, I can't say this very well, but it's gastroenteritis. And he asked me if I'd been abroad. I was like, no, I'm just really sick. So yeah, that was the second show sort of situation. And then we just said, if I don't get any better from then obviously I won't be able to do the finals, which was the weekend after for UK DFBA. So we just sort of like took it nice and steady. I went back home on the Sunday evening. Monday was horrendous. Tuesday wasn't great. And then Wednesday I started to feel a little bit more myself. So we just started to like obviously get back into getting foods again. So in terms of like what I brought to the finals, like the look I brought to the finals was literally just what I could bring. I just wanted to do it. I knew that I wasn't going to do fantastic. I knew I wasn't going to feel fantastic. I was still like really poorly up till that Sunday daytime. I really don't even know how I got through the weekend. I don't know how I got through the day. Hand on heart, I really don't know how I did it, but I did it. And the reason why I wanted to was not to like prove anyone wrong. I literally just wanted an end, like a finale to my prep. I'd worked so hard. It was my first time, you know, winning a show and then being invited to a finals is like absolutely incredible. So I wanted to go just to kind of like have an end to my prep and just celebrate the end of my prep, which I did. And I ended up coming 4th out of 11 girls who looked absolutely incredible. And, you know, I was basically hanging out my arse and I still done really well. So for me, that was just a massive, like, you know, you showed up and you did the best that you could and you still did pretty well. So it's actually quite mad because I was on more calories last year than I am this year. But yeah, sometimes I don't. So at the moment, obviously I have my meal plan and I have, So I have 6 meals a day on a training day, and I have 5 meals a day on a rest day. And the majority of them I do follow, but admittedly, sometimes I will have something else in replacement, and that is just out of pure enjoyment and food freedom. So I'm still getting a decent amount of calories in. I'm still aiming for around about the same like carbs and proteins, but sometimes it's just out of like, you know, enjoyment of doing something different. So, you know, for example, one of my meals will be like chicken and rice and some cheese or something, and we will do like homemade pizzas or something different in terms of like the meal structure, but the sources are still the same. So on my training day, my calories are currently 2,878. 236 grams of that comes from protein, 370 grams of carbs, and 74 grams of fat. And then on my rest days, I have 2,330 calories, 170 grams of protein, 273 grams of carbs, and 62 grams of fat. So I'm going to take you through the meals itself. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't get my protein in. I will show you how you can. Obviously, you don't have to follow like my foods, but it is so easy to get your protein in if you have a good variety of foods. Obviously, I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian, so I do eat different, you know, different meats. I don't eat a lot of red meat. Don't particularly like red meat. I don't have like loads of variety. I do just prefer like chicken, eggs, the basic bodybuilder foods. So I will show you what the day withholds. When I do my meals, I write them all on a little piece of paper. So I've got them all here. So literally come to the kitchen, I'm like, boom, know what I'm having. So meal 1 is going to be pre-workout. And I would normally, so what it was in as was a bagel and 30 grams of whey. But because bagels are so expensive, basically where I have like the knowledge of being a coach myself around food, nutrition, carbs, fats, proteins, blah, 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 all of that stuff, I've basically done a little swap. So instead of having a bagel, I basically have 2 slices of this like thick tiger bread, and it comes to the same amount of carbs as a bagel does. So what I have is 2 slices of these. I have 25 grams of honey on this, and then 30 grams of whey. What I'm also going to do is add in a banana, because this is a pre-workout. I want to make sure that I'm fueled up enough for the session. Sometimes I'll switch out. So my last meal, meal 6, is 80 grams of oats, 30 grams of whey, 20 grams of dark chocolate, and 100 grams of berries. I don't always feel up to making that before my session because it can feel quite heavy on your stomach, and especially because I'm not doing a heavy session, so I'm not doing like legs or pull. So I prefer to have the oats prior to doing a heavier session. So sometimes I'll just switch out those oats and swap the meals around. So what I'm going to do instead of is have the 2 slices of bread, the jam, the whey, and also add in a banana. So what I'll do later is instead of 80 grams of oats, I'll have 45 grams of oats, because that will then make up from the carbs that I've used with the banana. So it's just being a little bit clever with your brain and understanding nutrition and what carbs are in what, so you can make these swaps but still with good food and good nutrition. So this is that meal I'm going to make now. Not really interesting, just putting a piece of bread in the toaster, so you can watch me do that if you like. And then yeah, that'll be meal 1, and then I'll get ready for the gym, go to the gym, and I'll show you my post-workout when I'm home. Right, just a little tip when you're doing stuff with like sauces and stuff like that. put it on the scales first, minus it, not minus it, but put it to 0. Let's do it again. And then take out what you need until it gets to the grams that you require, instead of doing it the other way around, because it just makes it a bit easier, especially when things are like sauces and in jars and stuff like that. Hello, I just got back from the gym. So I'm having meal 2, which will be post-workout, and it is 120 grams of Cocoa Pops, and wow, we get like the Asda own ones, and 30 grams of whey protein, and that is literally it. I get quite a few questions sometimes on what I mix my whey with, and I literally just mix it with water. I know it's not the most appetizing, but you can add more calories if you want to add milk and stuff. I'm just gonna sit and eat this. Session wasn't too bad actually. It was quite a good session today. Yeah, I'm definitely ready for prep now, because mentally I'm ready, and like physically I don't feel very comfortable anymore. Not that I'm like ginormous or, you know, overweight or anything, but I am the heaviest I've ever been now, and my check-in photos this morning I didn't feel like comfortable. So I'm 68 kg, and I personally like sitting at like 65, 66. That's where I feel most comfortable. But you have to do what you have to do to require to grow a little bit more. So I'm just going to sit and eat this and then do some work, and then I will show you meal 3. It's currently like 1 p.m. so I'll have meal 3 in like an hour or an hour and a half. Back to make meal 3. So I've just been doing a little bit of work. I've had a shower, so I'm now going to make meal 3, which is meant to be, so I was having 1 egg, 3 bacon medallions and a English muffin, and an apple, but I don't have any English muffins because I forgot to buy them, and I've gone off of turkey bacon, so I've gone off of bacon medallions, sorry. So what I'm now doing is having 1 egg, 2 egg whites, making it into like an omelette, putting a little bit of grated cheese in there, which is like 50% less fat, and then I'm going to use a bagel instead because I have run out of my, unless, I wonder if Joseph has any. Sorry Joe, but so Joe has English muffins in his cupboard, so I'm going to steal one. Oh no. Okay, we're having a bit of yolk of that one. They're already pre-cut. And then the OG of apples, Granny Smith apple. My pet peeve is if you bite into an apple and it's not crunchy. No. Gotta have a crunchy apple. What's that guy? Hang on. I was thinking of that meme of that guy where he goes, nice. So meal 5, I have one reduced fat beef burger, and I have a Baby Bell on top of this, so Baby Bell light, and I also have a bagel thin. What I do is I melt the Baby Bell in the microwave and then pop this on top of the burger, and it's really nice. It's basically just a lower way of having like low fat cheese and then a bit of barbecue sauce. So here we have meal 5. I have 100 grams of raw weight chicken. Basically I've defrosted the chicken here, and I'm gonna do 2 meals worth just to save me for the next day as well, so that I've got it ready. And then I have 80 grams of pasta or 140 grams of rice, so either or whatever I fancy doing. Then basically what I do with this meal is I'm frying off the chicken first. I also have 80 grams of any veg that I want, so I normally have broccoli with this meal. And what I'm going to do is turn it into basically like a pasta bowl. So I have the 100 grams chicken, 80 grams of the pasta, I have 80 grams of the veg, and then I also have a little bit of cheese, which I actually mix in through cream cheese to make the sauce of the pasta. So what I do is I mix it all together, cook it up, mix it all together in a bowl. I just fry off my, good tip actually, quicker way of cooking veg is put it in a bowl with some hot water and then microwave it. But yeah, I mix it all together, the pasta, the veg, the chicken, and I put a little bit of cream cheese in there. I put 100 grams, and this will be spread across the 2 meals. I add some garlic, I add some chili, and I also add a little bit of onion and some salt. Then mix this all together, and it's such a nice quick pasta dish to make. I then pop it into a bowl and weigh out the whole amount that I've made, and then divide it by 2 because I've used 2 lots of ingredients. And then I have, you know, my meal for that day, and then I also have a spare one for another day as well.
Good morning all. Admittedly it is the next day, only because we were really tired last night and basically just had my meals and then we went to bed. So I didn't actually end up having my last meal just because I was so full from that last pasta meal. It was meant to be the rest of the oats that I mentioned in the morning, so 45 grams of oats, the 30 grams of whey, 20 grams of dark chocolate, and the 100 grams of berries. I ended up just having 20 grams of dark chocolate because I've got a sweet tooth, and I didn't end up having the oats. So sometimes it happens and I can't always get all of my meals in just because I'm generally a lot fuller and I feel full. I don't have the appetite in the evenings, and this is down to me not starting my meals early enough in the day. So it is something that I need to get a little bit better with. But I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much for watching my very aesthetic food, but I hope to see you in the next one. And again, thank you very much for tuning in.